Hey guys, Jared with Trident Fly Fishing, and today we're going to be tying a classic tarpon fly. We're going to tie it a little different. We're going to tie the Tarpon Toad. This one's a little less dense. It does sink a little quicker. I've been using this for different species besides tarpon. You know, shallow water, think redfish, think snook, think stripers. Really cool, really great profile. It can be adjusted in a couple different colors. We're going to tie it in black, and we're going to get started on this thing right now. Alright, so in the vise I have a new Umpqua X Series hook. It's the XS 415H. It's their tarpon specific hook, and I have it in a 2/0. So to start this thing off, we're going to put a black rabbit strip off the back, and I'm going to measure this so it's a little bit longer than my hook shank. And then I'm going to cut that to length and tie it in at the back. So for thread, I'm just going to use Danville mono thread. You could use a couple different threads. If I didn't use mono, I'd probably use GSP, gel spun. Probably 100 denier in black. So I'm just going to tie this tail right in at the back here and make sure, one, it's tied in upside down, which is cool, different than what you normally see with rabbit strips. But I'm going to make sure this is right on top of the hook shank, and then I'm going to add a little bit of UV cure on top of this and to the side so that it doesn't foul. So let me grab my UV. I'm going to use Loon UV in a thin. And I just want to, one, cover up my thread wraps a little bit, and then two, get some down in here on the sides so that, you know, it adds a little bit of stiffness here. And you're not going to see this because we're going to cover this up a little bit with some dubbing. Just get it back there. I just want to create a little bit of a stiff point here just so that this won't wrap around the hook shank. So grab my light and hit that real quick. And you could be a little messy with the UV. I didn't want it back in there, but that's okay. Make sure that's fully cured. Next thing I'm going to do is grab some ice dubbing, and I have this in Midnight Fire, which is a cool black, blue, and red combination. So I'm going to grab some out of the pack, fluff it out a little bit, align the tips, so I can get the longest length out of it I can. I'm going to tie this in two different chunks. So put this and tie this, bring my thread back a little bit. I'm going to tie this in, and then I'm going to, with my thread, manipulate this around and my fingers here so it ties 360. And we're going to get this in two chunks, like I said. So the first chunk, we'll just get it on there and we'll get it covered up. Fold that back. This is going to take the place of traditionally what you would do, what you would put here, which would be marabou. So this is just going to add a little bit of durability, a little bit of flash, and you're still going to get that movement and a tiny bit of bulk back here. So I think it's a good substitute. So fold that back again, throw a wrap over. Cool. It looks pretty good to me. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create the body here. And I'm going to substitute a brush. I'm going to use EP Minnow Head brush. It's 1.5 inches and it's in misty black. This is going to keep it a little less dense than what you would traditionally see if you used yarn or something like that and tied it like a merkin style or, you know, a traditional toad. So just bring that up, fold this back, tie it in, make sure it's in there real good. I'm going to leave my thread right at the eye. Alright, so what I do here is I pull this out, and I want to make sure that all my fibers are splayed out so I can wrap this nice and clean and get that wide profile that we're looking for. So touching turns here, you could change up the density, but like I said, this brush is inherently less dense than if you did tie with a more traditional material, so I do want to keep my wraps pretty tight. You'll see I'll preen this as I go, but I'm going to hit it with a dubbing brush as well, or a dubbing needle. Alright, bring this all the way up to the eye. And then I'm going to kind of pull this up, split this out so I can sneak my thread right in there. Wiggle it so I don't trap too much. 1, 2, 1 in front, back, and then I'll be able to just helicopter this off. There it is. Let's pull that back. going to whip finish real quick. I'm going to leave this here just in case I nick it. So I'm going to take my dubbing needle, or just a bodkin, and come in here and get all these trap fibers, if I did trap any. Pick them out, and then I'm going to come in here, split this in the middle. You'll see I'm kind of untrapping some of this stuff. And then I'm going to pull it to the sides here. So I'm going to do this so you can see. And basically what I want is to see almost bare hook here, and you'll see the wire. I'm just going to split that out. And if you look at the profile, that's more of your traditional toad profile. So we still achieve that, but just a little bit different way of doing it. So what I'm going to do now too is just add a little bit of UV finish on the bottom. I'm going to go up the shank, and this is thin again. So I'm trying to keep the bulk and weight to a minimum. So I'm going to keep the weight to a minimum by doing that, and you'll see it's right there on the shank. So I'm going to hit that real quick, and then what I like to do is put a little bit more and a little bit further out, and then I'll spread it a tiny bit with my finger. Just come in there real quick. It's just a tiny, tiny bit. And it's just going to keep this profile when it's in the water. So hit it again real quick. And then finish up with my thread wraps. All right, you'll see I have a different profile, a little bit bulk on top. This is going to move some water. It's going to keep it riding higher in the water column, but it's still going to move well. You can come in here and kind of give it a nice little trim. I like to use my hook eye as a guide. It's about a 45-degree angle maybe. And you can adjust this how you want it. This is another fly that you can adjust on the water too. Always carry a pair of scissors. And there it is, guys. Kind of a modern, different variation on a tarpon toad. Super effective on a multitude of different predator saltwater species. Probably work on smallmouth bass pretty well as well. Give it a try, guys. Make sure you hit subscribe, hit the bell notification so you're notified of all of our future fly tying videos. And we'll see you next time.